many of you know, my family moved from Ukraine to Argentina 100 years ago. So even before all the after parties, I already feel like home here. So thank you very much for that. A little background on the RSK team. We've been working on this project for the last 3 years, but we started working on the Bitcoin space and the Bitcoin community for the last 5 years. So we contributed to the creation of the Argentine Bitcoin NGO and community, and we helped 10 other countries in Latin America to develop their grassroots movements. We created La BitConf, which is the largest Bitcoin conference in the region, and helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and companies to develop their blockchain and Bitcoin skills in the region. So we've been involved for a very long period of time. As Pavel said, yeah, no problem. As Pavel said, we just launched the RSK Mainnet 2 weeks ago. So we're very excited to be here and present it. And we are in a tour all around Europe and then other geographies as well to present this technology to every single Bitcoin and blockchain community because this is a community effort. So if RSK will become successful, it's because of all of you getting involved. As most of you might share, what we're doing here as an industry is way more than just creating a new commodity or a new currency or new technology. What we're building here is a new era of the internet. As Pavel said, we're going to see a complete disruption in something that we call the Internet of Value, that we expect that will bring the same benefits that the Internet of Technology or the information brought to our society, but now apply to any kind of value, okay? So when we started working, it was very clear that for the first time in the last 5,000 years, we had a digital, scarce store of value that could compete with gold for the first time in humankind. So it was very interesting and clear how this technology called Bitcoin can disrupt our financial system. But when we started working with additional use cases, we saw that there was a lack of programmability. No, there was great, awesome store value, but there were some use cases that we wanted and needed, especially to include and provide financial services to the 65% of human population that we have in Latin America are currently unbanked. It's 200 million people, but it's the same percentage across the globe. And the other option that we had was Ethereum, that was awesome technology, but was putting together the store of value with the business rules. So we started discussing within the team how we could, add this new functionality to Bitcoin, and that's how RSK came to life. Basically, what we're doing is just adding this wonderful functionality of smart contracts, but to the security and the current infrastructure that already exists in the Bitcoin space. I love giving this comparison. Do you remember when we started receiving internet information through the copper cable in the wall? What were we doing? It's just infrastructure that was there, and we started using it for something way more interesting. Well, this is exactly the same thing we're doing with Bitcoin. There's a huge amount of hardware and hashing power and electricity being consumed to secure Bitcoin transactions. And now we are putting that infrastructure and that security available to exchange any kind of tokens. So in our vision, the combination of the security of the Bitcoin network and the flexibility and programmability of smart contracts can be a key cornerstone in the construction of the Internet of Value. Of course, this is just the infrastructure, and now the question is what use cases and wonderful applications we as a community together are going to build on top of RSK, and this is the reason why we are here talking to all of you and so excited to be in Ukraine that has one of the most exciting communities of developers in the world. So this is, in a nutshell, the 5 pillars on which RSK is built. I'm going to explain them really quickly for all of you. The first one is a virtual machine that is fully compatible with that of Ethereum. So it was very important for us that whatever we built was compatible with everything else that you guys have been working on. Okay, so RSK runs smart contracts that are programmed in Solidity, Web3. So any Ethereum developer or any project that is based on Ethereum smart contracts has an option now. if proof of stake doesn't work, or if the Ethereum network has any problems, or just if you want a lower transaction cost, you can use RSK. We have a unique opportunity to provide lower execution costs because, as you'll see now, we are subsidized by Bitcoin. The second pillar is that we decided not to create a new tradable coin. Instead of using Ether to execute for the smart contracts, we're using Bitcoin. You might be familiar with the sidechain concept. Well, we're actually using an improved version of a sidechain, which is called a drive chain. Just for those of you that are technical background, a sidechain idea from Blockstream required a hard fork and 5 opcodes to be modified. The drive chain, it's only a soft fork and needs only 1 opcode to be modified. When every single miner mines a new block, decides whether the funds are released or not from the drive chain. So basically the way the drive chain works is the following. You send a Bitcoin to a locking account. With the same private key, you receive a smart Bitcoin. I mean, it could be a smart Satoshi, any proportion of it. You use those smart Bitcoins to execute smart contracts on the RSK blockchain that has blocks every 10 seconds, is Turing complete, and can run up to 400 transactions per second. Whenever the user or the miner wants to cash those smart Bitcoins back, they send them back to the peg and release the Bitcoins that were locked in the first place. Okay? So this is the reason why every single Bitcoiner in the planet loves our project, because if RSK is successful, that will imply a very large amount of Bitcoin locked in the peg in order to execute those smart contracts. So it's actually the Bitcoin technology used as its full potential. Also, many of us believe that this kind of second layer and third layer platforms on top of Bitcoin are the real solution to scalability. Because as you know, Bitcoin can process around 5 transactions per second, but smart Bitcoins on RSK can already process 400 transactions per second. And the third layer, which is called Lumino, which is for off-chain payments, payment channels, can process up to 20,000 transactions per second. So this is the real scalability. Despite the discussion that we might have whether we need or not scalability on the bottom layer, which probably we need some, in the long term, that cannot compete with the scalability that we can have in multiple upper layers. The third pillar is that not only we're using Bitcoin as fuel, but also we are allowing ASIC miners to merge mine those transactions. So this is the first time that ASIC miners can now get an extra revenue stream from execution of smart contracts. As you might imagine, all the Bitcoin miners had a lot of money invested to secure the network, and they were looking at the smart contract revolution and didn't have any possibility to participate. So with RSK, now they're going to get most of the fees generated in the smart contract platform going to the miners. But not only that, with the remaining fees, so 80% will go to the miners, and 20% will go to continue developing the platform and sharing with the full nodes. So one of the things that we thought why Satoshi didn't do is that we believe that full nodes are extremely important for decentralization, but they are not getting any economic incentive. So we said, can we provide any economic incentive to full nodes? Yes, of course we can. So part of the fees that are going to be generated in RSK will be used to reward RSK full nodes and Bitcoin full nodes as well. So hopefully that will help to contribute to the decentralization of the network. Also, we have a global federation of 25 different exchanges that are going to be providing security and extra services. And of course, the most important pillar is the community, right? RSK provides infrastructure to execute smart contracts on Bitcoin, but then it's upon all of us to build those applications that will eventually transform our society. So this is what we've done so far. We launched the Mainnet 2 weeks ago, and this is what we're going to be working during 2008. We're going to be providing all these key non-blockchain services that are currently available on Ethereum and other networks that we need to make sure that they are available on RSK, like decentralized storage, Lumino network for off-chain payments, secure directory, certified communication channels, and oracles and data feeds, which will be provided by the Federation. So this is what we call the IOV services, so the Internet of Value. But now I would like, before finishing, to remind and to share with you, why are we doing all this? Because I'm sure you share that, you know, the blockchain revolution is not only technical. If we do the same things that we've been doing as a society, but now with the blockchain, then we're not changing anything. So every time we talk to different communities, we want to share this vision that, you know, in the future we should encourage people to be called millionaires. Billionaires not when they have more than €1 billion or dollars in net worth, but when they are dedicating their time to change the life of these billion users that will have access to the internet for the first time in the next 2 years. Same thing with unicorns. We're so crazy about unicorns. Well, we should call unicorns companies that actually dedicate their time to change our society. And we have a unique opportunity with blockchain technology to do so. So for that reason, we created an accelerator called Blockchain for Humanity, because as Pavel said before, we're going to see a lot of craziness around ICOs and a lot of greed coming to the market. So those of us that have been in the space for a very long time, we need to make all we can to make sure that these projects that are working on decentralized ID, transparent government, liquid democracies, or financial inclusion actually get some visibility and can reach a proof of concept. Well, that's what we're trying to do with Blockchain for Humanity, and we invite all of you, if you're working in a project that is really working hard to transform our society in positive ways, let us know, because this is the purpose of Blockchain for Humanity, help you be successful. And if you want to be involved and help these projects, also, you are welcome to help us. So basically, these are the links if you want to get involved. The GitHub, I mean, our website is rsk.co, so you have all this information in our website. But if you want to participate as a developer in the network, go to our GitHub. If you want to talk to the core team, the Gitter platforms where we talk about technical stuff. If you want to start operating with the Mainnet, we have this whitelisting because we didn't want anybody to do an ICO before we can onboard most of the miners and the Federation members. We expect to clear the whitelist in the next couple of months, but right now you need to send us a message there in order to access Fuel. We're also working on education. We need more developers around the world. So if you go to educate.rsk.co, we provided a whole course of blockchain for decision makers and developers that is for free. So if you know anybody that works in a university that would like to create a blockchain hub in your city or in your country, we're happy to help. It's not for profit. The bounty program, that's extremely important, especially here in Ukraine, that has a huge community of developers. We want you guys to give us feedback on the code. So we put together that bounty program on our website. And of course, the ambassador program, because we need one representative, one Bitcoiner, one blockchain developer to be able to convey the message in your local community and get, you know, these projects to be on board. Or if there's an interesting use case in Brazil, that we can bring it to Ukraine, or from Ukraine to Paraguay or to Bolivia or anywhere in the world, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel every time and reach these billion users in the next 2 years. So thank you very much for having us here. It's a pleasure to be here, and we really invite you to help us build the Internet of Value on top of the Bitcoin network together. Thank you very much.